Okay. So Glenn Stein here. We're going to talk about contracts today. We're going to talk about at least 5 things that you need to be aware of when you're buying in Ocala, Florida, Marion County, and pretty much all of Florida, by the way. We're going to talk about that. A little bit about myself. Been in the business since 2000 and started a brokerage back in 2004. And we've been in existence 17 plus years with locations, a couple of locations in the villages and a location on Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala. And we're going to talk about some things that you really need to know and understand when you're buying, not just in Ocala, but pretty much everywhere in Florida. So that's a thing for you. I want you to just be aware. I don't know that there's enough information out there for people to understand what they're getting into. So one of the things I want you to be aware of is there is something. It's not just a sales contract, but we have 3 different types of sales contracts, but really two that's really common. The FAR bar and the as is. We're going to touch upon the as is contract because that's a lot of what people are using. Most realtors and the public are using in Marion County and Ocala, the as is. And there's some differences there. And if you have questions about that, you can just ping me here in the comment section on this particular channel. Also, if you would subscribe, that'd be fabulous as well. But along with the contract, it doesn't matter whether it's the FAR bar or the as is, there's something called a seller's property disclosure. And the seller's property disclosure is essentially a form, or actually several pages long, in many cases, where it allows the seller to indicate what they know about the property, what they understand about the property, what works, what doesn't work, and allows the opportunity for the buyer to review. So it's really a good thing to not overlook it. I think I've seen this many times where I don't know. I think you need to have a reasonable understanding as to what you're signing in initially. I think that's smart. So make sure you spend a little bit of time in reviewing the seller's property disclosure. Oftentimes, when it's something that you can review before you put in an offer, it's not an inspection, nor should it replace an inspection, but at least it's some information. It gives you a little bit of a clue as to the seller's understanding and what they're revealing and disclosing to the public. So good idea is to look at that. So that's a thing. Another thing for you to look at, and this is something I think for your realtor to actually explain to you, I think is the assignability section in the real estate contract. So assignability allows a little bit more flexibility in your offer. Now, some mortgage companies, financing companies may not allow this, but if you can, it's probably a smart idea to check mark what they say is they may assign but not be released from liability box. So that gives you the ability to not only change buyers and not be released. So in other words, you're planning on buying, you want to put in your name, but now we've got to add your wife's name or your husband's name, or you want to put it in a trust that allows you to do so, this box, without getting the seller's approval, right? And it doesn't release you from liability, but allows you flexibility to change the name. So that's a thing I want you to be aware of. The next thing is that there's something in just below that. If you look at line 82, whenever you're putting in an offer, that has to do with the financing contingency. So if you're doing FHA or VA, you can't do it this way. You're going to have to, obviously check mark the box that there is financing. It is contingent upon financing. You're also going to fill out an FHA or a VA addendum. But in this case, when we're talking about you're doing conventional, or you've got enough money to put down, more than 20% down, and it's not going to be contingent upon appraising, and you really want to do win. Let's say you're in a competition, you're a bidding war, and you do want to win. Sometimes it's about price. A lot of times it is, but sometimes it's about cleanliness of contract. And you putting in buyer will pay cash for the purchase of this property. Know that this isn't being disingenuous. Just know that that's the first line in the paragraph, because the rest of the paragraph says there's no financing contingency to buyer's obligation to close. So make sure you understand this completely. See if it's an option for you. It may not be, but if it is, it could be a good way to win the bid, because invariably what typically happens is nobody reads past that first sentence, which basically says buyer will pay cash. So it doesn't mean you have to pay cash. It just means that you are not making the offer / contract contingent upon any kind of financing contingency. Okay. Another thing to look at is your property inspection period. You can narrow the period down a little bit. Doesn't have to be 15 days, which is the default typically if left blank. You can make it 10 days or you make it 5 days, assuming you can get an inspector in there quickly enough. Okay. So just know that that is a potential option. Know that that is a possibility. For inspection period, you can narrow it down a little bit. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is the escalation clause. And the escalation clause allows you to raise the price without having to be communicated with. It's kind of like an automatic bid up, but there is a fail-safe. So if you are, let's say you are making an offer for $250,000 on a property that's listed at let's say it's a $250,000 property, and you've got competing bids, competing offers, and you want to offer $250, but you know what? I really don't want to lose this house, so I'd be willing to pay as much as $260 on this. You can bid $250, and you can put in an escalation clause that will allow you to go up to $260, with knowing that you are going to pay $1,000 more than the highest bid, up to $260,000. So if somebody offers $255, then your bid will automatically be $256. So that's how you can automatically win. Now you may be thinking, okay, how do I not get ripped off? Wait, they're going to see that we're willing to pay $260. They have to verify that there is a bid, another offer at $255, or in this case, whatever the second highest bid is, they need to present that and verify that this is the second highest bid and you're going to bid $1,000 over. So that way you're not way overpaying. So I've given you a lot of content in a short period of time, but these are at least 5 or 6 things that I want you to really look at, pay attention to when you're buying in Ocala, moving to Ocala, or you're planning on living in Ocala, Marion County, no matter where it is, whether it's the northern part of the Villages, whether it's Bellevue, Ocala, any part of Marion County, Florida. So questions, you can text me or call me 352-572-3796. Also, you can visit our site at buymidflhomes.com and get the latest properties that are hitting the market. And giving you a little bit of an update, we've seen a little bit of a fluctuation in inventory over the last, obviously, 18 months, but more specifically, the latter part of this year. And we were basically going up in inventory about 10 to 15% over the last couple of months. Most recently, the last couple of weeks, inventory has dropped down a little bit. And we were almost at 1,100 homes in Marion County. Now we're at the upper nines, about 980 at this point. So very interesting to watch where the inventory is going. I watch this really closely so we can understand which way the market is going for sure. So questions, just give me a call or you can leave a comment here.